that you keep your facial muscles relaxed and shoulders, bottoms relax. And for a moment, become aware of your surroundings. So the place you are in at the moment, just become aware of that place, that space, the place you are sitting, the walls, ceilings, all the physical arrangement of your space. And become aware of your whole body from top to bottom. From front and the back. For a moment, just see yourself like a second person, like somebody else doing it for you. The whole body awareness. Then become aware of your breathing, the ingoing and outgoing breathing through your nostrils. If you do not feel it, you might want to make it a little longer and deeper. For a moment, just watch your breathing going in, coming out. Sink yourself deeply with the breathing. Feel it, how deep it reaches when it goes in, and how far it goes out when it goes out. With calmer and quieter mind, we'll chant a prayer, a mantra here. We'll chant 3 times Om first. So you might want to do together. And if you know the mantra, you can do that together also. So inhale deeply, 3 times Om first. Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, open your eyes, everybody. Okay, should we start? So, I don't see anybody. Everybody, like, I think microphone is muted, but I don't see anybody visible. Blank screens, yeah? Can everybody show? Everybody show one time, so I see that everybody is alive, right? Everybody's breathing. Okay, good. Some more? Still some of you are hiding. Very good. Half of them still hiding. I want to see everybody first, then we can start. Maria, Smita, Hussein. Come on, show up. Okay, good. So today's topic is pranayama. Everybody does pranayamas, right? How many of you do? Just raise your hands. Oh, everybody does almost. Okay, and if you do it, I'm sure you know about it also, right? So if you're doing it, I'm sure you're knowing about it. So I don't think so I'm going to talk something new or something like a miracle, like I will give you a tip and everything is, all your problems are solved, right? So I don't have that tip. I'm not a magician. So maybe whatever you will hear through this discussion, or you can say pranayama discussion, maybe a lot of things maybe you already know, and maybe a few things I'm sure maybe a few things you might find something new also. So it is good to, if you know it already, it is good that you recall your memory, yeah, revise it again. And if you do not know it, it is good to know it, yeah, because if everybody practices yoga, so I'm sure that it is part of the yoga. And unfortunately, a lot of places like at the moment I stay in Thailand, so I'm in Thailand currently. So you will see that a lot of yoga classes, yoga studio you go, but most of the classes are focused on, okay, asanas, 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 because everybody looking through to do some kind of like a workout. Yeah, everybody want to go to yoga classes to sweat, to work out, to get stretch. And when it comes to the breathing, there's, oh, it's too boring. Yeah, either it is too boring, some people find it, and some people are interested, but all the time yoga classes are designed for majority. So the majority people, if they are not interested, then it doesn't go well. But if we understand it well, so it is equally important the way we do the asana classes or anything you do in terms of yoga practices. It is equally uh, important, because the way whole yoga is designed, it's not only that few things, right? It is a whole system of Ashtanga yoga in Patanjali, right? So it is 8 limbs. So everything is important, and every practice complement each other. So it's not like we don't do this one, we don't do this one. So everything complement each other to make our lifestyle, our practice complete. So that's how the pranayama. So if you do the pranayamas, and when it comes to the pranayamas, so I'm sure you know the meaning of it also, right? So what is the meaning of pranayama? One person can unmute and just say it. What is the pranayama actually? Anyone? Just unmute and say it. The first person first. Nobody want to say? What is pranayama? What do you think about it? And what happens when you do it?
It's the regulation of breath to slow down your mind.
So regulation of the breath and to slow down the mind. Okay, good. Anybody else has some maybe different ideas? Maybe one person more.
You can raise your hand and we can unmute you.
Yes, raise your hand. Okay.
Rina.
Yes.
So it's a manipulation of prana through breath.
Okay, so prana through the breath. So means in your opinion means these are two things, right? Prana is different and breath is different.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good.
So through breath manipulation, we affect prana.
Okay, good. So good. Anybody else maybe? Okay, good ideas coming, right? Yes, Sushila ji. Bhavna can unmute.
Maria, can you unmute Sushila ji? Yeah, I can do it.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Pranayam. Pranayam means pranayam plus pran means सांस का लेना देना breath और आयाम मतलब उसका मैं हिंदी में बोलूंगी इंग्लिश
हाँ हिंदी चलेगा
तो
मैं भी हिंदी बोलूँ
प्राण आना जाना प्राण का आना जाना that means breath का आना that is prana.
Very good. Okay, so I think we got the enough answer. So Bhavna says that okay, it is the regulation of the breath and the mind. Then Irina says that it's a control over prana by the breathing. Yes, somebody else want to say?
It's basically changing the energy levels in your body. The prana is what, the flow of energy can be changed in your body through pranayama.
Okay. Sure.
That's what is my understanding.
Yes. So everybody, you see that different ideas come and different understanding. But what I'm going to talk about it, maybe a little bit traditional understanding, and then we'll talk about more the way it comes. And later on, if you have any questions, maybe you can explain, you can tell, and we can have discussion also. So when it comes to the pranayama, the whole system of the yoga, if you see it, so if you go by the Yuga Sutra of the Patanjali, so pranayama comes at the 4th place. Yeah, the way it is a yoga, limbs of yoga is designed, right? Ashtanga means asht means 8, ang means limb, or the you can say of the practices. So that is the way yoga designed, 8 limbs. So pranayama, as per Yoga Sutras, just for your information, it comes at the 4th limb. And if you see, because in Yoga Sutra, pranayama is there, but most of the practices what we do nowadays, it comes from the Hatha Yogic tradition. So there are different types of yogas also. If you have been a little bit understanding regarding yoga, so many branches of the yoga. So as per Ashtanga Yoga of the Patanjalis, it is 4th number of the practice. So it is first is yamas, then niyamas, then asanas, then 4th comes pranayamas. And when it comes to the Hatha Yogic tradition, so Hatha Yogic tradition, all the Hatha Yogic practices, it depends which book you refer, because Hatha Yogic books are different. So like mostly the famous one, we say the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and the second one is called Gheran Samhita. That's where we find most of the practices when it comes to all the pranayama. So Hatha Pradipika puts, so asana first and the pranayama second. So as per that Hatha Yogic tradition, pranayama is the second. So they don't talk about yamas and niyamas. Yamas and niyamas, they talk later on include somewhere with the diet and everything. But when it comes to the practice, then Hatha Yogic system, as per Hatha Pradipika, is called Chaturanga Yoga. So Patanjali's system is Ashtanga Yoga. Hatha Pradipika says Chaturanga Yoga, means asanas, pranayam, and mudras, and then last part is called Nadanusandhan, that is, you can say, meditation. And when it comes to Gheran Samhita, so Gheran Samhita puts it at the 5th place. So pranayama comes at 5th. So first are the kriyas, means you need to clean your body first before you get ready for yoga practice. Second comes like asanas. Then third comes like mudras. Then comes pratyaharas. Then comes, after pratyahara comes the pranayamas. So you see the Gheran Samhita puts the pranayama at the 5th place before pratyahara. In other places, in Patanjali's system, the pranayama, pratyahara comes after pranayamas. Yeah? So that is a little bit, you can say, the way all the tradition, Hatha Yogic tradition and Patanjali's system puts it. But when it comes to the pranayama, so pranayama, like you already mentioned it, it's a combination of 2 letters, 2 words you can say. So first part is called prana, and second part is called ayama or yama also. So it is taken in 2 ways. So prana and yama, or prana or ayama. So the both are correct. We don't say that one it's not correct, but both are correct. So prana and yama or ayama. So when it comes to the prana, you're always saying the prana is what? Prana is a energy, right? Energy. And that energy is what? That's why we say that life force, the energy which runs our life. Without that, we will not have the life. So until and unless prana is there within us, we are alive, we are breathing. Yeah. So breathing is also part of the life which goes in and out, but prana is there, which is making it happen also. So the prana means it's energy, it's life force, it is subtle energy, means not visible. And when it comes to the ayama or yama, in yoga, it is taken yama, ayama has the three meanings. Yeah. So the first meaning is called, the way Bhavana was saying, regulation. So the first meaning of the ayama is the regulation. And second meaning of the ayama is to make it larger or the bigger. And third meaning of it to control it. So these are the three meanings of the ayama. So the prana is the energy. Ayama is means we regulate it, we make it bigger, and we control it. So you see that whenever we practice the pranayama, you will see that these all meanings are applied. So we regulate the breathing, because at the moment, the way we are breathing, our breathing is usually we say, doctors say that the breathing every minute, how many times we breathe? Somewhere 15 times average, right? Around 15 times we breathe every minute. So we regulate it, that 15 times. Some pranayamas, you might make it faster, right? When you do the Bhastrika type of pranayama, so you may be increasing the normal ratio of the breathing also there. And when it comes to the other pranayamas, we want to decrease it. So we regulate it as per the practice of pranayama. Same time, we make it bigger. So that is the another meaning, means ayama means bigger. So when you will see that, so we are trying to make the breathing sometime bigger. Bigger means in terms of the inhalation and the exhalation. Normal breathing is very short. It's very small amount of the breathing goes in and goes out. And when it comes to the third one, control, means of course we control the breathing whenever we do the pranayama. So this is the word meaning of the pranayama. Yeah. So when it comes to the pranayama, then, a lot of people, what happens that they will say that, okay, pranayama is when it comes to the breathing practice. Yeah, so it is breathing practice. So as a system, you will say prana, we are saying prana is not the breathing, it is separate from the breathing, but most of the practices of the pranayama, what we do in the yoga is related to the breathing. We play with the breathing. Sometimes we make it shorter, sometimes we make it faster, sometimes we make it deeper. So that's how the practice is with. So why we say the pranayama, when it comes to the pranayama, why the breathing? Because prana is not breathing. Prana is completely something different. Prana is very universal concept. It's not individual concept. So the prana we have inside also. So that is called individual prana. And when it comes to the universal prana means something outside also. Everything is governed by prana, right? So the prana has the individual meaning, means it is regulating, governing our life. We are alive. Everything is happening. I am talking. You are listening, right? We are eating, sleeping, all the things, all the activities happening because of prana is there in the body. And same way outside, when it comes to the universal level, in something there is a prana also, which regulates everything outside also. Because you see the sunrise is happening every day on time, right? Earth is rotating very regularly. It's not slowing or faster. It is just going the way it should be. Yeah, wind is blowing. Ocean has the wave, they are flowing. Yeah, so everything happening with its regular rhythm. So there is also some kind of thing which is regulating or controlling, or you can say managing it. Yeah, so the prana is outside also and inside also. So inside, when it comes, we say the individual prana, and when it comes to outside, so that is called universal prana. Okay, so this is a little bit. And when it comes to the prana, meaning of the prana is, it's a word meaning of the prana means constant movements. Pra and na. So pra means constant, na means the movements, which is constantly moving. It cannot be stable. It's constantly moving. So in our body also, in outside also, it's constantly making something happen all the time. So that is called prana. So why in yoga all the pranayama practice, when it comes, so designed with the breathing practice. So as we say that prana is something different, breathing is different thing, but why the pranayama practices with the breathing? Because when it comes to energy, if we say it is energy, energy we get in different sources, right? The food we eat, it gives you energy or not, it gives you energy. So we get the prana through the food also. And whatever we are drinking, that also give energy. So that is prana comes in through the water also, or whatever we drink. And when it comes to the other things, so we breathe, we get the energy through that one also. And we get the energy from the sunlight also. Yeah, because sun is the source of energy. What we say all the time, if there is no sun, nothing will exist. Everything will disappear within some time. Yeah. So that prana we get in different sources. So why the pranayama is designed to practice with the breathing only. Okay, so you will get that understanding why it is like that. So when it comes to the food, we get the energy through the food, right? So if you don't eat for some time, still you can be alive, right? How long can be alive if you don't eat? It's actually quite long. Yeah, if we don't eat in India, you know, those Jain Munis, they fast very long. Sometimes when the month comes, so like they do that Paryushan kind of things, and it goes very long. So actually you can live very long without the food. So we get the energy by the food, but our body stores everything, whatever we take in terms of food. And if you leave the food for some time, still we can be alive. But when it comes to the next thing, water. So water also, if you don't drink, for sure we can be alive for some time, maybe a week or something, right? But then other thing is that if you don't take the sunlight, because sunlight also gives the energy. So if you don't take sunlight, for sure we can be alive for some time. Yeah, there are some countries when during the winter they don't have sunlight at all, right? Like they say North Sweden, when it comes to the winter, they don't have sun for almost 3-4 months, but still those people are alive. Yeah. But when it comes to the breathing, how long you can hold the breathing? How long you can live without the breathing? Maybe not even few minutes. Yeah. So food maybe few months, water maybe few weeks. When it comes to sunlight, those people in Sweden, they live without sunlight for 3-4 months. Everything happen. Of course, they get a lot of challenges. They say that one challenge they get, that their people go very deep in depression, a lot of psychosomatic problems, yeah? Psychological problem, because they don't have the light. And same time, when you don't breathe, then of course you will see that it's not possible to live even few minutes. So that's why we find that prana has very close association with the breathing. So prana, when it comes to the breathing is the nearest or closest form of the prana. Of course, prana we get through different kind of things, but when it comes to the nearest form, if we look at, so the breathing is the nearest form of prana. That's why you will see that in yoga when it comes. So all the practices about the pranayamas are designed with the breathing. So there are different types of pranayama we'll discuss later on, but that is the way, you know, how the pranayama practices only with the breathing, because prana we get through different sources, but that's how the close association of the prana is the breathing. And same time, you know, the breathing connects with the internal prana to external prana. So that is also connecting things also happening there. Yeah, external prana, universal prana reaching to the individual prana. So that is also one of the cause that breathing is the closest form of the prana. That's why yogis knew that, okay, when it comes to the pranayama practices, it's the breathing practices, because breathing has very close association, very close form of the prana. Okay, so these are the prana. This is a little bit understanding about the pranayamas and how it is everything come to the design. But when it comes to that, why we should do it? Yeah, why we should do it? What is the purpose of doing it? So of course, if you see the yogic tradition, like maybe you know that maybe some people doing the pranayamas because they say that during the COVID, it is helping that you can develop the immunity, right? We can have the immunity, of course, because it is pranayama, right? Pranayama, prana means energy, and prana energy means more energy you have, more better your immunity will work. So if there's less energy, that's why COVID, this coronavirus is affecting more the people who they are already having some kind of issue. Their prana is already weak. or maybe the people who they're having who are old and already having some. So that's how they are much more effective. Means their prana levels is already low. So that's why when we do the pranayama, they're saying by doing the pranayama, we can increase the prana level and you can increase the immunity to fight this pandemic, what is going on at the moment. Yeah. So that is one of the, you can say the modern way of saying. Then other people say, oh, it is very good exercise. It is very good breathing exercise because our lungs get exercised. So that some people will say that one. So they will say, no, I do it because, it feels fresh after that because I take a lot of oxygen inside. So that can be another reason some people will say it. Another reason some people say that after doing that, I feel very relaxed. So this is the different kind of things we find that we find the reasons to practice the pranayamas. But when you see the yoga books, why they say it, why we need to do it. So when it comes to the practice of any yoga practice, to understand properly, we need to understand the basic or fundamental purpose of doing yoga, the way it was designed. And what is that purpose of doing yoga? Purpose of doing yoga is not to get the slim body. Yeah. Purpose of yoga is not to stand on your hands or arms. Yeah. Purpose of yoga is not to, I'm not sure what you can get that. So means getting good pictures to post on, to put on the Instagram or Facebook. Yeah. So purpose of yoga, but when it comes to the books, so what they say, purpose of yoga is to bring control over fluctuations of the mind. Yeah. So Patanjali says very clearly, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. So what is the purpose of yoga? The purpose of yoga is to control the mind, control the chitta, the fluctuation, those agitation all the time happening at the mental level. The purpose of yoga is to bring control over that, finding the balance there. Okay, so if we understand the pranayama's purpose as per textual understanding again, so it goes again. What is the purpose of doing pranayamas? So yogis, they say different reason, and mainly you will, in yoga books, you will find mainly 4 reasons. Yeah, why we should practice pranayama? So 4 reasons. What is the first reason? So, there is a very old belief that, our life is designed by the number of the breathing we breathe during whole life. So the breathings are given by the nature or by the God, if you believe in. So breathing is given by certain numbers. So until and unless we have that number, we are alive. The time we finish the number of the breathing, then we finish our life. So that is the first principle comes in yoga books, that why we need to practice pranayama, to make your life longer. Yeah. So that's why Hatapradipika says, Avad dvayu sthito dehe tavad jivan muchyate. Means until and unless breathing is going in and out, you are alive. The time it will go, our life is done. Yeah. So the first purpose they found that by practicing pranayama, we can increase our life span. Yeah, I'm not sure we can increase it, but you will see that how this concept came in the yoga practice. So you see the yogis, by the time, they did not have any kind of scientific lab to experiment, to provide those kind of research and prove it. But you see, if you see around your nature, so you will see the animal kingdom. If you go to the animal kingdom, we will find the animals or the living beings which breathe very faster. Yeah, faster breathing, shorter lifespan. And the animals or the living other creatures who they breathe slower than us, their lifespan is bigger, larger. So you can see that at your home, if you have the dogs and cats, their breathing is faster than us. Dog breathe. Yeah. So how long dog lives? They say around maximum 20 years. And opposite go to that one, for example, elephants or turtles or crocodiles. Their lifespan is larger than us, because you see the crocodile has to hold the breathing, stay inside the water for very long, looking for the food. Then slowly it will come up, breathe, then it will go down again. So how much pranayama or breath control he does. So you will see that that's why they live very long. So the first principle, that's how it was developed, that so you see the dog or the cat or the crocodile, they don't have that understanding, that vivek khyati, what Patanjali say, viveka or discriminating power, that okay, I need to sit and do the pranayama to make my life bigger. So dog cannot do that one. We human being has the intelligence. So we can sit and do the pranayama, do control means make the breathing longer, slower and deeper. So by doing that, yogis say that first benefit is doing is that our lifespan will increase. So modern term, you can say that I'm not sure it will increase or not. So quantity of the life will increase or not, but I'm sure you can improve the quality of your life. Yeah. So not the quantity, but the quality of the life, I'm sure it will increase. And what pranayama adds, because we have got the certain number of the breathing as per the belief, Indian beliefs, traditional belief, the way. So when we do the pranayama, so pranayama is like a, when you put the money in saving account, so you get some interest on top of that. Yeah. So it depends where you are and which country gives interest. In India at the moment, I think it is 2.8% or 3.3% something, you get the interest. So the breathing or pranayama practice will add the interest on the amount you have already got. So that is the first purpose of doing pranayamas, yogi recommend. And second purpose, they say that, what is the second purpose? So second purpose, they say, it is very close to the purpose of the yoga, to control the mind. So Yoga Hatha Pradipika again suggests, the yoga book suggests that chale vatam, chale chittam, nischalam, nischale bhavet. Means the way our prana or the breathing, vatam means breathing, moves, the same way our mind moves. So mind and breathing has very close association. So whenever mind get disturbed, our breathing get disturbed. So yogi knew that to bring the control over the mind, it's not easy task. Yeah, you close your eyes, maybe people will think that you are meditating, but you know what is going on in the mind. Yeah. When we close the eyes, you will see more things than what we see with the open eyes, because with the open eyes, we have limitations. So whatever in front of me, I'll see it. But once I close the eyes, then more shit comes, mind brings more shit than with the open eyes. I'm sorry to use that kind of language, but that's how it is. Yeah. Once we close the eyes, mind will bring more shit. Yeah. So it is to control the mind. It's not very easy task. So that's how yogis found that controlling mind is not easy task, but by controlling the breathing, we can find the balance over the function of the mind. So that is the second purpose. You will see that, and you can find that relation also, that whenever you are restless, in anger or in a lot of anxiety or some kind of pressure or stress, you will see that your breathing, if you will see the people around, whenever they are very afraid or angry or restless, you will see that their breathing is completely goes upside down. In same way, you see the people when they are sleeping, for example, when kids sleeping, so you will see the breathing, how rhythmic and how slow it becomes. Yeah, because conscious mind at the moment you are sleeping. So the same way, when the mind is calmer, the breathing becomes deeper, longer, slower. And when mind is restless or stressed or having any kind of agitation, you will see that breathing get disturbed, because breathing and mind are interdependent. So by working with the breathing, we can work on the mind. So achieve the purpose of the yoga, which is to control the fluctuations of the mind. So that is the second purpose. Yoga books, they say that why we should practice pranayamas. Okay, then third practice of the pranayama, it comes by cleaning purpose. Yeah, so third purpose of the pranayama, yogis recommend that it's for the cleaning purpose, and they use a sutra in a verse in Hatha Pradipika says, Malakulashu nadishu maruto naiva madhyagah, means until and unless we have the toxins or impurities in the body, or you can say in the nadis, then our prana cannot flow properly in the body, or wherever it needs to reach, it will not reach properly. So they say that, because we have the prana, yeah, that prana is subtle energy which keeps us alive, and how it flows inside the body, how it reaches. So inside the body, we have the energy channels, and those channels in yoga or in Ayurveda in India, we say nadis, yeah, nadi. Even if you go to Ayurvedic doctor, so he will see the check the nadi. So they say that he's checking the prana or nadi. And in yoga, we say that prana flows through the body. It's nadi. And when, how much nadis you have? So yoga says that in our body, we have 72,000 nadis. Yeah, 72,000 nadis, and 14 are major one, and 3 of them are very important one. So that's how the numbers are defined. So 72,000 in total number, but 14 are important. Those 14 you will find in different Asian systems. So like a meridian, the system of meridian, if you are aware of reflexology or Chinese or other system of the medicine, so they name the 14 meridians. So yoga also says those 14 nadis are important. And when it comes to the more specific, so 3 are most important, and those are called Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Yeah? So Ida means the left side one, and Pingala means right side one, and the Sushumna is the middle path. Yeah, so those are the nadis. And if because of the lifestyle, the way we live, yeah, lifestyle means what? Lifestyle means the food you eat, the drinks you drink, the air we breathe, and the thoughts we think. So that's what our lifestyle is made of. Lifestyle is what? The food you eat, the drinks you drink, the air you breathe, and the thoughts we think. So because of our lifestyle, we put a lot of garbage inside. Yeah, garbage in, garbage out. That's what mostly psychological or those people, they say that if you put the garbage, it will come out. So that if you put a lot of garbage, so that kind of things, if we keep putting that one, so when it goes inside, so that makes a lot of toxins in the body, and those toxins, they go and they're stuck with the energy channels are called nadis. And once nadis are blocked, then prana will not flow properly in the body. And once prana not flow properly, then you will say you will get a lot of physical, psychological, and mental problems. Yeah. Again, when it comes to the nadis, if you go to the doctor, okay, doctor, I want to see my nadis. Can you dissect my body and open? I want to see it. So of course, there is nothing like you will see something called nadis. It is same way the chakras. If you go to the doctor, I want to see my Muladhara chakra. So there is nothing like that. So these are all psychological concepts, but they work. You see, if you go to the acupuncture doctor, acupuncture, so you will say you have the headache and he will put the needle somewhere else. Yeah. So it works because there are, means not necessarily that you can see everything on the microscope or X-ray or ultrasounds or whatever equipment doctors using, you can see it, but they work it. Yeah, they are present there. We haven't developed that kind of microscope or that kind of instrument that you can see the nadis at the moment. But maybe when science advances more, one day maybe, you never know, we will see it the way we are seeing auras nowadays. Some kind of photography can show your auras, that what kind of aura we are having, how the color of the aura. The same way, maybe slowly it comes and later. So at the moment, the nadis get blocked, and those nadis are, again, we say that psychological concept more than physical. So they get blockages, and that blockages restrict the flow of the prana. And once prana is not flowing, then you will see that we get a lot of psychological and physical problem. So the third purpose of the pranayama, doing pranayama, yogi says that to clean the toxins or clean the impurities or clean the nadis from the impurities which blocks the flow of the pranas. And fourth purpose of doing pranayama, you will see what is that. So books recommend, tradition recommends that by doing the pranayama, you can use the pranayama for some therapeutic purpose also. Yeah? So that's why maybe that you are more aware that, okay, if something like if you want to burn the fat, if you want to lose the weight, if you want to improve the digestion, if you want to increase your lungs capacity, what kind of things you need to do, because that's what most of the time we look at, okay, I have this problem, which pranayama I should do. Then teacher, Kavitaji or someone here will say that, okay, and you need to do this pranayama. Yeah. So the pranayamas have therapeutical benefit, and those yogic books also, whenever we do, then they will say that, okay, you by doing this pranayama, you will get this benefit. But what the books talk, they talk more about psychological, and again, more psychological issues than talking about the physical issues. So they will talk about Kundalini, they will talk about the pranas, they will talk about the different kind of things. So those therapeutic benefits also can be achieved by doing the pranayama. So these are more for purpose of doing the pranayamas, and other pranayama purposes what we are doing nowadays. They are, of course, we are getting it, but the basic purpose of the doing pranayamas, these are four, which I mentioned already. The first one is to increase the lifespan. Second one is to control the mind, because the purpose of doing yoga to control the mind. And third purpose, to clean the blockages from the energy channels or the nadis. And fourth, that if you do it, you will, if you have some kind of issues, if some kind of problems, I'm sure, and yogis, they were sure that they help with that one also. So you see, we have the four different kind of benefits. So it depends what we are looking for, and it can work for everything. So if we are looking for the physical benefit, they have the therapeutical benefits. Yeah. If you are looking to control the mind, control the stress, oh, I'm very stressed, I need to the yoga teacher, or nowadays so many other people, they will say you need to practice the pranayama, you need to take some deep breathings. Yeah. So can reduce the stress level. And same time, when it comes to the more deeper aspect, that life, of course, as I said, not the quality, because we don't know that how many breathings we have got. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't know it, how many breathings we have got, which will be the last breathing, and how many we have already breathed. But yogis, they say that we breathe 21,000 breathing every day. Yeah, that's what Harpar Deepika or Garen Samhita, they say. So we jap or we chant Soham mantra 21,000 times every day by default. So the Soham means going, breathing in is so, and going out is this hum. So hum, so and hum. So that mantra constantly going on 21,000 times every day. So if you have breathed 21,000 one day, then count how many times in a week, how many times in a year, and how old I am, and how many breathings I have already breathed, right? So you will see that maybe not enough, zero, or maybe not uncountable. And that's how yogis say that you have got the certain number of the breathing, and we need to save those by practicing pranayamas. So you will say, I'm not sure that that was the completely meaning, but you will see that, the way we disturb our breathing pattern, natural breathing pattern, because of our lifestyle, because of the emotions we get, anger, stress, and name it. I'm not sure how many things we can name it. Those things can disturbing the breathing all the time, making your natural breathing irregular. So I'm not means we cannot say that we will increase the lifespan, but for sure those all disturbances was we are bringing by mental disturbances, disturbing the breathing, and that one for sure can be managed and can get the benefits. Okay, so until here everything is clear. Then nowadays you will see that, purpose of the pranayama, many people will say that, okay, purpose of the pranayama is to exercise the lungs. So some misconception, we will clear it. So maybe you will get something new thing that, so a lot of yoga teachers, even yoga teachers will say that, okay, why we should practice pranayama, why we should practice this and that, because they say our lungs get exercised. Yeah. Do you think our lungs really need exercise? They have been working since we take birth, and they are working and working, and they will work until we die. They are working. Actually, they are already working, and they are maybe sometimes they overwork because the way we disturb their natural working pattern. So people say that, okay, your lungs get exercise. So if the purpose of the pranayama was to exercise the lungs, then you will see that if you do the pranayama, maybe you can increase your lot of other things. Means you can, so purpose of the pranayama not to do something, not, there is no relation with the performance. Yeah. So if you do the pranayamas, and if you think that your lungs are getting exercised, so it's not like that if you go to swim, then you will get extraordinary ability to do that. And if you go to run, it will improve that one. It's not like that. Maybe if you run and swim, you get your cardiovascular system stronger. So that is the purpose of doing that one. But the purpose of the pranayama is not to exercise the lungs, the way many people will say it, or many yoga teachers will say it. But the purpose of the doing pranayama It's not to exercise the lungs, but to give them rest. Yeah, to give them rest. So you are breathing 15, 16 times every minute. Our heart is beating since we took birth. And sometimes it is heartbeat. Also, we get disturbed because of the stress and so many things. Sometimes we get heartbeats very high. Yeah, because of unhealthy lifestyles and everything, our heartbeats are going more than what the way it should be. So they don't need more things to exercise through the yoga also, but to give them the rest. So the way pranayamas are designed, you will see that they are not to get the lungs exercised, but to give them proper rest. How? You see, for example, we say that when we breathe, normal breathing, right? We are saying that 15, 16 times in a minute. Yeah, that's how it is. Calculation goes 21,000 times in a day. That's how yogis, they calculate it. So they mentioned 21,000. So if you calculate 15 breathings per minute, then hour, then whole day, you will find 21,600 actually. Yeah, 21,600. So that is the number comes total. So lungs is already working that much. So what actually they need rest. They need our care. They need our awareness, so that you are working 15 times already, pumping the air in and out. So what you need rest. So what we do in pranayama, so 15 normal breathing, but when you're doing the pranayama, how many times you are breathing actually? If you take away some pranayamas like Kapalbhati, because the purpose of the Kapalbhati is not pranayama, right? Purpose of the Kapalbhati is to do the cleaning. Before we start doing the pranayama, so we do the cleaning. So the purpose of the Kapalbhati is to do the cleaning. But when it comes to the pranayamas, most of the pranayamas are what? Pranayamas are slow, long, deep breathings. Yeah. So for some time when we teach the pranayama, you say that, okay, control the breathing as much as you can and make it longer as much as you can. So person sitting next to you should not hear the sound of your breathing, that something is happening. That much slow we need to make the breathing when we practice the pranayama. Until and unless you follow the Baba Ramdev, that's how he will teach you the Anulom Vilom pranayamas. Yeah, completely distortion. So if you study these books like Hatha Yoga Pradipika and other things, they use the word always Shanaih, Shanaih, slowly and gently. Shanaih, Shanaih. Yeah, Shanaih, Shanaih. They keep using the word Shanaih, Shanaih, inhale, and Shanaih, Shanaih, exhale, slowly and gently. So that's how, when it comes to the pranayama, if you do the Shanaih, Shanaih, then you will see that how long breathing you can take by controlling it. So if you do in that way, you will see that when you do the pranayama properly, then you will see that you cannot breathe more than 3 times in a minute if you do it properly. So at least like 8 to 10 second inhale, 8 to 10 second exhale. So for example, 20 second a breathing, then 3 breathings a minute finished. And normally how many times we are breathing? We are breathing around 15 times in a minute. From 15s, we cut down 12 and we remain with the 3. So how many numbers of the breathing we saved? 12 with 1 minute, right? So once we save that 12 1 minute, so our lungs got rest, means they don't need to contract and expand for those 12 unnecessary times. But in 3 times, we are doing the same thing. What happens with the 12 times? So the purpose of the pranayama, you will find, it's not lungs exercise. It's to give rest to the lungs, because resting, relaxation as the rejuvenation. Yeah. So that's why when we go for holidays to those resorts, oh, I'm going to rejuvenate myself because a whole year I have worked. This is time to relax. So when your body is tired, means other part of the body is tired, then you take the rest, you sleep. But what about the lungs? What about the heart? When we give them rest, we don't give them rest. They need rest also, because they have been working since we take the first breath, came to this world, and until we are in this world, they are constantly working day and night, 24 hours, 24/7, and all around the year. So during the pranayamas, what is the purpose of the pranayama? Not to exercise the lungs, but to give them the rest. And once you give them rest, you will see that they work more properly and we can manage whatever we do in 15, 16 breathings. We can do same thing with the 3 breathings. Or maybe if you start applying the kumbhakas, or maybe retention of the breathing, maybe you can reduce the number of the breathing more. For example, because all the pranayamas, when we do it, we do with the ratios, right? So that's what another things you will find, that deep breathing and pranayamas, they have completely different things. Deep breathing, normal deep breathing, and pranayamic breathings, they are 2 different things. So once we do the deep breathings, I can take deep breathing. That is also deep breathing. But when I do the pranayamas are done with some terms and condition. And first term is that to do with the ratio. Yeah, to do with the ratio. And what is the ideal ratio to do it? For the beginners, at least we cannot do the advanced one. So what should we do it? Means the time you take to inhale, the same time you take to exhale. At least we need to do that. So if I'm inhaling in 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, so same time I take to exhale. Then when it goes to the advanced state of the pranayama, then what we do later on? Then we start stretching the time of the exhalation. So if I'm inhaling in 10 seconds, I want to exhale in longer time. So maybe 15 seconds. And ultimate it was to make double time when we exhale. So if you are inhaling in 10 seconds, we need to exhale in 20 seconds. And once you can master that 10-second inhalation and 20-second exhalation, then you can progress to do the kumbhaka. Otherwise, you master that this ratio, inhalation 1:2, inhalation and exhalation ratio 1:2. And once we can master that, then we can go for the retention of the breathing, and that retention again comes with a lot of terms and conditions. Yeah. So the first term of the pranayamas is the ratio. Ratio must be there. If you don't apply the ratio, then you are not doing the pranayama actually. Maybe you are doing something else. And second thing in pranayama is important is the movement of the body. Many people will say inhale, take the belly out, exhale, take the belly in. So only this is another misconception. And misconception is that pranayamas are not abdominal breathing. Pranayamas are chest breathing. Yeah. So most of the pranayamas are chest breathing, not the abdominal breathing. So when you inhale, we need to expand the chest. And when we exhale, we need to contract the chest. Behind this, yogis, they thought that we need to make this habit from the beginning. Maybe one day you want to do the pranayamas for spiritual purpose. Yeah. So if you use the chest from the beginning, then you will get that spiritual purpose later on correct. That then you will see that you will. So from the beginning, what we say that we need to use the chest. So when you inhale, you expand the chest, and we exhale, we contract the chest. And how we have to do it? So we have to control the belly. Yeah. And what we have to control that? We need to contract the lower abdomen a little bit. So there should be a little bit always contraction at the lower abdomen. So you can control the belly. And when you inhale, expand the chest in all direction, front, up, side, back, every direction. And when you exhale, bring it to the natural position, because our lungs are here. They need to expand. Yeah, so that is the second thing comes with the pranayama. So first thing is the ratio. Second thing is the movement of the chest, not the belly. And third thing is the focus, mind. When you're doing it, what the mind going to do? It's going for shopping. Yeah, it's preparing the shopping list or preparing for the party. No, we need to focus, because once again, if you are not doing if your focus is somewhere else, then we will say, oh, it's not pranayama. What is this? This is swasayama. Yeah, this is swasayama, means you are expanding your breathing, but mind is absent. And once you put the mind together, then your swasayam practice become pranayam. Yeah. So the mind, combination of the mind with the breathing, because chale vatam, chale chittam, that should remember what books say, that chale vatam, chale chittam. So mind and breathing should be combined whenever we practice the pranayama. Then actually we are practicing pranayama. Otherwise, maybe you will get the physical benefit of doing it. For sure, it will give you the benefit. But what we want to really achieve at the larger level, that's why, what's most of the time we say that yoga is not to solve the problems like this problem or that problem. What yoga does, yoga solves the fundamental problem. Yeah. So why we do yoga? Yoga is to deal with the fundamental problem, the basic root cause of the problems, and other problems get solved. That is byproduct. That is the byproduct of the practice. So if you're doing the breathing or pranayamas and your purpose is that I want to control my mind, I want to achieve the chitta vritti nirodha. So your lungs capacity, your oxygen level will increase, your asthma will increase, your blood pressure will improve, your stress level will go down, everything will happen. But if you aim that I want to achieve the chitta vritti nirodha. So always yoga say that whenever we read the yoga books, so they always set the higher target. That's why when it comes to the benefit of doing pranayama, so Patanjali will not say that, okay, your lungs capacity will increase, you will consume more oxygen. Yeah, oxygen saturation. What he says, practice purpose of or the benefit of the pranayama, when he said tatakshiyate prakasha varanam. Yeah, that's what benefit is, that tatakshiyate prakasha varanam means the avaran means that covering around the light. Prakash means the light. So the covering around the light. You saw that when we were very small in India, because I'm from India also. So in our village, when I was in primary school, we did not have electricity, right? So we used to use these oil lamps, kerosene lamps, laltens. Maybe many of you will know that what is lalten, right? Laltens. So lalten has that covering glass, and because we burn the kerosene, so every day you need to go and clean that glass so that you can have the proper light coming out. Otherwise, the lalten is on, but the light is not coming out. So that's what Patanjali says. So purpose of pranayama is that, so that you lalten glass you are cleaning every day, right? Prakasha avaranam, that avaran which is covering the light, so that will get cleaned. So he says that what is the benefit of the pranayama? So tatah kshiyate prakasha varanam means it will cut away, take away the covering around the light, which is protecting your light, inner light to shine, inner light to come out. So that all mental disturbances, mental fluctuation, what is all suppressing that light is not coming out. The Anandamaya Kosh is not working because so many shit is going here and protecting that.
Anilji, sorry to interrupt, but we are short on time, so we would everybody would like to ask some question answers and some practical.
Okay.
Because it's already.
I see, and that's why I said that. That's why I was asking. When I start, then sometimes I miss the time.
Yeah.
So yes, so this is the purpose. Actually, that was the last one to mention, that the purpose of the pranayama tatakshite prakashavaranam. And second purpose is, Patanjali says in Yoga Sutra we find, we say that dharana sucha yogyata manasah, hence our mind will be able to do the higher practices. And what is the higher practice? Is the dharana, means we will get ability to do the dharana, means concentration. Yeah. So these are the, so if we set that high target, for sure that everything else what we do, we will achieve that. Okay, questions please. Practical questions.
Can you, first of all, everybody is asking if you can give them some sort of a, like a small pranayama practice which they can do to start, practicing on their own.
Sure.
The things. What
yes.
is the pranayama?
Yes. So when I teach in my classes, or when we teach in our yoga teacher training, because at the moment I'm teaching yoga teacher training also, it's online, but I'm teaching. So that's how we do it, that we need to, so those three things what I mentioned, that we need to remember the ratio, movement of the chest, not the belly, and the focus of the mind. So whenever we practice, you do that one. So I will give you a simple practice. It's not pranayama, but it will help you in the pranayama to do it. So everybody keep one hand on the chest, other one on the tummy. So one hand at the chest, other one at the tummy. So why we are keeping the hand? So you can monitor the second principle of the pranayama, that not moving the belly, moving the chest. So notice by your hands that don't move the belly, hold it wherever it is, neither pulling it in neither taking it out, but just hold wherever it is and move the chest. And what I will do, I'll give you the counts to monitor your ratio. Yeah. So what I will do, I will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So when I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you inhale from 1 to 5 continuously without breaking the flow. So with my counts, don't do like 1, 2, I'm not giving the jerks, but the flow from 1 to 5. And when I count from 5 to 1, again with the flow, you exhale. So that will be the ratio, but I'm going to count very slow. Mind that I'm going to count very slow. So my count will be maybe more than a second, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And same way when I count 5 to 1, so this will be this 10. So make sure that we need to inhale and exhale slowly, longer and deeper. Yeah. So, okay. So keep one hand to the chest, other one to the belly, and close your eyes. With closed eyes, do the third thing. Bring your mind to your breathing. Notice your normal breathing first. Once you notice the normal breathing, finding connection with the mind and the breathing. Then before I start counting, take your breathing out. Exhale fully. Exhale, exhale, exhale. And now start inhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And slowly exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slowly exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Do by yourself 2 times. Yeah. So monitor your breathing. If you need to make longer, if you think you can go longer, you can go longer also. But make sure you increase the time other side also. So inhaling, if you are increasing the time, make sure you increase the exhalation also. So do a few times by yourself and don't move the belly, move the chest. So when you inhale, expand the chest in all directions. And when you exhale, you bring it to natural position. Do one more. And whenever you complete this one, you can come back.
So Anilji, there are a lot of people. There's a lot of general stress which is going on currently due to the COVID, uncertainties. A lot of uncertainties in jobs. So what is the way where I mean, pranayama is a lifelong practice and it is something which needs to be slowly learned and developed over years. But for the current times, is there some sort of a technique which people can have, which at least get the general stress levels a bit down, so that people are able to function or respond better to the situation?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we cannot say like, okay, take this pill and this will work, right? So it's not with the pranayama is like that, but any pranayama, specifically if you do the Anulom Vilom pranayama, because the way that is designed, Anulom Vilom, maybe most of you know, it's called Anulom Vilom, or we say that Nadi Shodhana also. So if you do that pranayama, because that pranayama will help you to balance the hemisphere of the brain, because maybe whenever you are getting this emotional swings, right? Any kind of emotional swings, either getting agitated or maybe through depression side or other sides, maybe one side is taking over more. right? So when you do it, then maybe you do it, and I'm sure it will help it in long term. So it is not like in the pills. So even if you do it, maybe you will say that, okay, I will do 3 times and it is going to work. So it's not like that. But whenever we recommend the practice for the pranayama, so at least you find the time for 10 minutes to sit and do it. So round doesn't work. Okay, do the 5 rounds. That is just entertainment. Yeah.
So 10 minutes of Anulom Vilom 1:2 ratio should be a good practice to start with.
Yes. And Anulom Vilom is the good practice. Start with it. And before, I mean, if you want to monitor your belly moving, chest moving, or ratio, so this practice, what I just give you now, maybe you can do few times. Then you can go for your Anulom Vilom. You can do the equal ratio 1:1, or maybe if you are practitioner already, have been practicing 1:2. That will for sure, it will help. And the way, you know, the nostrils, because nostrils have the connection with the 2 brains. Yeah, the way it is designed, right side, left side. And most of the emotional things, what is happening because of our left brain takes over more than the right side one. Yeah.
There's another question, which is why exhalation is always longer than inhalation?
Oh yes, that is the purpose. You know, there is a purpose behind it. So actually, the way yogis, they mention, you know, because they want that's why I said that, you know, we need to control the belly and move the chest. The same way yogis, they want to say it by saying that one, they want to prepare you for higher practices. So you see, when we exhale in double time, for example, I'm inhaling 10 seconds and I'm exhaling in double time. So when I exhaling in double time, so in direct way, what I'm doing, I'm trying to hold the breathing, right? So if I'm inhaling in 10 seconds and trying to exhale in 20 seconds, in indirect way, I'm trying to hold the breathing, and holding the breathing is what? What is going to come the next stage, what is called Kumbhaka.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that double exhalation prepares us to practice that Kumbhaka part whenever you want to decide to practice.
Sure.
Yeah. And same way.
Sorry, go ahead.
And same way when it comes to the chest movement, the belly movement, right? The way I said that, okay, pranayamas are chest breathing because we need to control the belly. Again, yogis, when they say it, has the purpose because when you do the spiritual purpose, means pranayama for spiritual purpose, pranayamas are always done with the bandhas. Yeah. And those bandhas means other bandhas you do not, but 2 bandhas, once you decide to do with the bandhas for spiritual upliftment, for example, some people, they say, okay, I want to work with the kundalini or chakras and other system. So pranayama can work only if you do with the bandhas. And those bandhas are Mula Bandha, Uddiyana, and Jalandhara, right? Maybe if you have practiced or you practice it. So those are the bandhas. So for example, you do the Mula Bandha and try to expand the belly. Can you do it? You can never do it. You do the Mula Bandha and try to take the breathing from the belly. It will not happen. Yeah. So that's why from the beginning, we want to make the people happen this habit that control the belly, because maybe one day you want to control. So anyway, you have to breathe from the lungs and from the chest. So keeping that controlled belly, once you control the belly, so not necessarily that you have to do the full bandha, but once you control the belly, contracting the belly, so the partial, maybe little amount of contraction at the Mula Bandha level already happening. And slowly, once you get the progress, then maybe you can try the Mula Bandha later on.
So one of the participants has asked the question: is in internal Kumbhaka, is the breath held in stomach? So
no. Breath is held in the chest because you are using the chest only. So chest should be expanded. But again, when you do the internal Kumbhaka, again, when we teach it, we don't ask the people to hold the breathing without doing Jalandhar Bandha. So you must do the Jalandhar Bandha whenever you hold the breathing inside. And Jalandhar Bandha is simple, very simple, is that taking the chin to the collarbone. So when you hold the breathing internally, it doesn't matter in which pranayama or which kind of breathing practice. Sorry. So we need to do the Jalandhar Bandha.
What is an ideal time for practicing pranayama? I mean, especially what are the rules regarding the food? I mean, can you take something light like a fruit and then do pranayama, or you have to be empty stomach?
Yes. So if you have taken the full meals, right? Like full meals means your lunch and dinner or maybe heavy breakfast. So of course we need to keep at least 3-hour gap.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 hours gap. So it depends which time you eat. Then after 3 hours, your system will be ready to do the pranayama. And same time, if you have taken something light, right, light meals or maybe some kind of snacks, so at least you keep like an hour gap.
So something
Then
like
again,
a simple apple or a banana. Also, after that, also you have to keep an hour's gap.
I mean, that one, it depends, because if you follow the rules, so for sure, yes, because you see that why the yogis, they say like that, because when you practice the pranayamas, so they don't want to divert your energy from digestion to something else. Okay, means even if you taken the full meal, I mean, if you have eaten, if you practice pranayama, a lot of people can practice it without any difficulty. It means you don't feel any difficulty to practice it. But what is the purpose behind it? Because everything gets energy. Because once you practicing pranayamas, or you want practice asanas or any kind of exercises, what we are doing, we are trying to take the energy which should be consumed with the digestion at the moment. You are trying to engage somewhere else. Right? So that is the basic purpose. Otherwise, you will see that, okay, I have eaten, I just took the breakfast and I can go and practice the asanas. Of course, you can practice. Body will not say that don't practice, but it is just at the energy level that we don't want to divert from one thing to other, because digestion is also necessary after eating. That's why if you don't do that, then you will feel a lot of challenges with the digestion, like constipation, bloating, gas, acidity, a lot of things will come because you are not giving your energy proper time to happen it.
I think we have time for one last question. Does
Anybody
anybody?
else?
You can raise your hand and we can unmute. I have a question. What is a good, because most of the people in the modern with the modern lifestyle face digestion issues or gut issues, and that's what everybody is now talking about, addressing your gut to even address your mind. Is there any particular sort of a pranayam which can directly hit the gut and
I mean, gut means what problem you're talking about? The constipation or something else?
no, generally gut, like everybody keeps saying this word now, gut health, gut health, gut health. So is there something?
Because gut, when it comes to the gut health, a lot of things can happen, and mostly
Yeah.
we'll say can acidity can happen, maybe
Yeah.
constipation can happen. So what
Yeah.
we'll say to, I mean, initial level, what everybody need to do, I always recommend to the people, drink warm water in the morning. Maybe you can, if you are not acidic person, maybe you can take a little bit lime in it, and then do the Kapalbhati. It will help your bowel movement. Drink 2-3 glass of water and do the Kapalbhati.
So Sheila ji has has a question. Maria, can you unmute her, please?
Not yet, I think.
हाँ
Yeah.
सर एक बार अनुलोम विलोम का एक प्रैक्टिकल 2 करके बता देंगे कैसे करते हैं एग्जैक्ट कैसे
Anulom Vilom Pranayam, because it is called alternate nostril breathing when we say in English, right? Because we alter the nostrils. So the side we inhale, opposite side we exhale, and the side we exhale, we inhale again and we exhale from opposite side. So we use the hand because we cannot use our willpower to close the nostrils. So we use our hand, right? And this is the position of the hand mostly used. So some people will say, okay, these 2 fingers do here and do like this, but we say that, okay, do like this. So fold your index and middle finger and keep your thumb straight and these 2 fingers straight. Then if you take your right hand here, not to the nose, so your thumb is always right side and fingers are left side. Yeah. So to inhale, so Anulom Vilom Pranayama always starts from the left side. So we inhale from the left side. Yeah, same 1 to 5, the way I was counting. So you can inhale. And after inhaling, close the left one and exhale from the right side. And once you complete 1 to 5 to 1 exhalation, then again inhale from the right side. After inhaling, close the right, exhale the left by taking the same time. So that is 1 round. This is the 1 round. And if you decide to do it, maybe don't count the round, but take the time 10 minutes to do it. If you do less than 10 minutes, I'm not sure that any kind of things you will see benefit. That's how the people, they don't give time to the practice. They don't practice longer. And slowly after some time, they develop the idea that, oh, I tried, it didn't work. You tried,
One
but
more
how?
question, sir. One more question.
हाँ
एक और पूछ सकती हूँ?
हाँ जी, बोलिए बोलिए.
मेरे को लंग्स का प्रॉब्लम है, स्लीप एपनिया. आई एम 75 years old, 76 years. और तो मेरे लिए कौन सा प्राणायाम ज्यादा हेल्प करेगा? अनुलोम विलोम.
अनुलोम विलोम भी आप कर सकती हैं, और सूर्य भेदन ज्यादा हेल्प करेगा आपको वार्म रखने के लिए. सूर्य भेदन मीन्स इनहेल राइट, एक्सहेल लेफ्ट ऑल द टाइम. तो लेफ्ट राइट से लेना, लेफ्ट से छोड़ना. अगर आपके ब्रीदिंग पे कंट्रोल नहीं अच्छा, कि आप प्राणायाम करते समय अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके ब्रीदिंग पे कंट्रोल नहीं आ रहा है, तो आप उज्जाई ट्राई कर सकती हैं. उज्जाई प्राणायाम आपको कंट्रोल देगा उस पे करने से.
नहीं कर सकती हूँ, मैं सब कर सकती हूँ, सिर्फ वो लंग्स का प्रॉब्लम है. तो स्लीप, रात को नींद नहीं आती, तो सोने के पहले करके सोऊं तो चलेगा क्या?
चलेगा. आप उज्जाई प्राणायाम करिए, आपको नींद अच्छी आएगी.
ओके.
उज्जाई प्राणायाम करने के बाद में, क्योंकि उससे जो साउंड जो प्रोड्यूस होता है वो माइंड को बहुत सूट करता है. माइंड वेरी अट्रैक्ट द माइंड. तो अगर आप उज्जाई प्राणायाम करेंगे, आपको रिलैक्सेशन, स्लीप, उसमें बहुत अच्छा हेल्प करता है.
We do have a lot more questions, but we are running out of time. So I think we can just have all these questions and maybe ask Anilji to have another session with the Yoga Ashram clients.
Sure. Maybe next time if you do that, then maybe we'll do the full practical session.
Absolutely. Also, I think anybody, if they want to do a one-on-one session, they can contact Yoga Ashram and we can organize a one-on-one session for.
Sure. Because during this time I have been teaching, and actually I'm teaching the 50 hours class on the 50-hour course on the pranayama. It's a certification course. It's called, we give the YSEP certificate if somebody is already yoga teacher and want to go deeper in the pranayamas. I am teaching from 25th. I think I'll send you the link, my website link. It's yogicconcept.com. So you will find there. It is called yogicconcepts.com.
Yeah.
So you will find that.
Irina wants to say something. Maria, can you unmute her, please?
No, that's it. I actually was interested in that course, and I also was interested where to learn more from you, but I found you on Instagram, so I will check it out.
I have a website, so you can go to the website, and we have the online courses, because at the moment everything is moving, so we have to move online.
You can even contact Yoga Ashram and we can organize.
Sure, you can contact Yoga Ashram, Kavita ji, so and Bhavana ji, everyone. So for sure we can do that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anilji. It was a very, very enlightening session. It was extremely useful, and I mean, I loved everything. It's such a detailed way you explained about the reasons why we have to do pranayam, which most of us don't know. We just know it's just, we just know a very, very shallow level on why we have to do it. But it was extremely insightful, and I would like to thank all the participants as well who joined us through Zoom and through live Facebook. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Take care.
Everybody take care, and see you next time.
That's a certificate of appreciation to you. From our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhavana.